am I too exotic looking for Northern Europe? Now, you know me, I read the comments, I love the comments. I love being a YouTuber because I get to get a different perspective from people all across the world that I'll never meet. And these people have a different perspective, a different culture. I get to learn more about myself. You can only understand yourself to a certain degree if you're only looking at it through your own eyes. That's one of the glories of being a YouTuber. So I've been reading the comments, and someone was saying, more than once, basically someone was saying that while I could pass as somewhat native in many parts of Europe, not so much in Northern Europe. Southern Europe, yes, but Northern Europe, I wouldn't so much pass as native to, let's say, Norway. Now, granted, I've seen people with dark brown hair that were from Norway, and maybe even Sweden, but altogether my features are apparently a little too exotic to be from Northern Europe. And it's interesting because in the comments the word exotic was used. And I've, on my blog, I've written about this before, that the concept of exotic is ultimately nothing but relative to the person saying it. You know, because here in America, if someone looks exotic, it typically means they look something to the extent of like Hawaiian, right? And I understand that's one of the United States, but you know, it wasn't always, and they were their own nation before we got involved, which I guess is the case with a lot of, well, that's a whole other video. But yes, someone who looks Hawaiian looks exotic. In other words, they've got features that are much different from us. And so for me to look exotic in Norway or Sweden, that's an interesting concept to me, because all I know is the perspective of being an American here in America, and there's a lot of more mixed ethnicities here, I guess, that you sort of take for granted. But then it also confuses things for me to know exactly what makes a person white, which is I like making these videos, especially about that. It helps me understand a global perspective on it. But it's interesting that I could be considered exotic in Northern Europe. Now, maybe not in a major way, but give me some kind of long Norwegian name, perhaps someone in Norway would think, yeah, he may be Norwegian, but what else is he? You know. And what's funny is in America, I don't know that it's exactly that way here, especially here in the South. I think a lot of people kind of assume I'm a little something if they really think about it. I mean, I'm trying to think down here in my life without me bringing it up, what people assumed. I have had definitely more than one person assume that I was Jewish. And I've had people assume that I was part Spanish. But it's not like it happens all the time, or has happened all the time. It's happened a few times throughout my life. For the most part, I fit in until people see my mom, and then it confirms, oh, okay, yeah, he is something a little bit more exotic than typically, you know, the English, Irish, Scottish mix that is so prevalent down here in the South, in Tennessee, where I live. So it's an interesting concept that I could be considered exotic, but at the same time, I guess anyone can be exotic placed in the right context. Put anyone, anywhere, and as long as their features are different, they can be exotic. I guess that's pretty. I mean, I'm trying to think of a place where someone could go and not be exotic. It's like it would take somewhere that is heavily mixed ethnically, which again, America is a pretty good example of that. But then again, certain parts of America wouldn't be. But yeah, the concept of being exotic as far as your genetic makeup, it really is relative based on where you are. And it's funny to think that anyone in Northern Europe, I definitely would stand out more so in Northern Europe. But that I'm more by default Southern European looking. So thanks for helping me understand that.